Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you lost a battle you never meant to fight? As if every word you spoke only took you further from your truth, leaving you drained, unheard, almost invisible. There's a strange kind of exhaustion that comes not from speaking too little, but from speaking too much to those who never listen. It's the fatigue of trying to prove your worth to people who mistake noise for intelligence. And maybe, somewhere inside you, there's a quiet voice that whispers, "Stop explaining." Because the most dangerous minds in history were not the loud ones. They were the silent observers, the ones who could walk into a room and shift its energy without saying a single word. They didn't dominate with speeches, they conquered with presence. You see, words are often a disguise. They're armor for the insecure, smoke for the fearful, weapons for those who cannot stand in the weight of their own silence. But silence is different. It is not absence, it is pressure. It bends the air, unsettles the ego, and exposes truth in ways arguments never can. Nietzsche once said that he who cannot command silence cannot command power. He knew what few dare to understand, that the greatest strength is not in how you speak, but in how you withhold, in how you let others reveal themselves while you remain impenetrable. This isn't about being passive. It's about becoming so rooted in self-control that the world bends before your calm. It's about learning to communicate without words, to make your stillness louder than the noise of 1,000 voices, because when you master silence, you stop reacting and start directing. You stop being a player in someone else's game and become the one setting the rules. But what if I told you that silence, when misunderstood, can also destroy you? That the same force that gives you power can also become the very cage that traps your spirit. There's a thin line between strength and surrender, between commanding silence and being consumed by it, and that line is where the real secret begins. There are moments when the universe seems to whisper through the cracks of ordinary life. You wake in the middle of the night, heart pounding, certain that someone is calling your name. You look around, but there's nothing, only silence. Yet the silence feels alive, almost as if it's watching you. You tell yourself it's just the mind playing tricks, exhaustion, stress. But deep down you know it isn't, because it keeps happening. A song plays at the exact moment you're thinking of someone you lost. A light flickers when you ask for a sign. You meet a stranger whose words echo the question that's been tormenting your heart. And when you try to explain it, people smile politely, as if you're imagining things. So, you stop talking about it. But the signs don't stop talking to you. You begin to feel that your body reacts to things before they happen. A chill before bad news, a sudden calm before someone calls your name. The same recurring dream that feels more real than waking life. It's as if reality is bending to show you something you can't yet understand. You start to sense it in the people around you too. Some carry an energy that tightens your chest. Others bring a peace so deep it almost makes you cry. You walk into a room and feel the weight of an argument that ended hours ago. You touch an object and feel the residue of sadness that isn't yours. These sensations aren't imagination, they're information. They are the soul's language, translated through silence. And yet most people ignore it. They rush through life with their headphones on, drowning out the whispers of something ancient, calling them back to awareness. They mistake intuition for anxiety. They call coincidences random. They laugh at what they cannot measure. But You've always known there was more. You've felt the invisible pull between you and others, the strange alignment of events too perfect to be chance. Maybe you've even wondered why silence feels so loud sometimes, why being alone can feel like being surrounded by unseen eyes. Maybe you've noticed how your energy changes people, how your calm disarms them, how your presence alone can shift a situation without a single word spoken. You see, the truth is that the spiritual world does not shout. It communicates in subtleties, in sensations, in pauses, in dreams that refuse to fade at sunrise. It's not the storm that speaks, but the stillness that follows it. And when you finally learn to listen, you begin to realize that nothing is random. Every flicker, every shiver, every déjà vu is part of a hidden dialogue between you and something greater. But why are these signs becoming stronger now? Why does the world seem to be accelerating? Why do emotions feel heavier, time shorter, noise louder? Why do so many people suddenly feel lost, disconnected, anxious without knowing why? There's a reason for that. Because silence itself is changing, and the message hidden within it is about to reveal something that will challenge everything you thought you knew about power, presence, and truth. There is one secret that every ancient tradition, from the temples of Egypt to the monasteries of Tibet, tried to protect. It is not written in sacred texts, nor hidden in symbols on stone. It is hidden within you. The first great sign of awakening, the one that separates those who merely exist from those who begin to see, is the silence before the event. It is the pause that comes before something important shifts in your life. You've felt it, haven't you? That strange stillness before a revelation, before a loss, before a transformation. It is as if the universe holds its breath, and for a brief instant, everything stops. The ancients called it the moment of presence. They believed that every event in the material world begins first as a vibration in the invisible realm. Before a storm breaks, the wind changes. Before a heart breaks, the soul trembles. Before destiny moves, the silence thickens. And that silence is sacred. In modern life, we've been taught to fear the quiet, to fill every pause with noise, to replace stillness with movement, to hide discomfort beneath conversation. But the wise ones knew that the true language of the divine speaks in the moments when nothing seems to happen, because silence is not emptiness, it is preparation. The invisible is aligning itself for what must come next. Think of those moments when you felt an unexplained peace right before everything changed. The phone call that altered your life. The person who entered it out of nowhere. The sudden clarity that made you walk away from something toxic without fully understanding why. That peace was not random, it was guidance. It was the first sign of your inner world syncing with the higher order of existence. In ancient Greece, philosophers called this nous, the divine intelligence that moves through all things. In the East, it is the Tao, the path that cannot be spoken, only felt. In mystical Christianity, it is the still, small voice of God. All names for the same mystery. That creation does not shout, it whispers. When you start to honor this silence, your perception begins to sharpen. You begin to sense things before they happen, because you are finally aligned with the subtle rhythm of life itself. You stop reacting to the chaos around you and begin responding from a deeper awareness. Your energy changes, and with it, the world begins to respond differently to you. This is why Nietzsche, despite being seen as a philosopher of reason, spoke of something profoundly spiritual when he said, "Those who were seen dancing were thought insane by those who could not hear the music." He was not talking about madness. He was describing the awakened state, the ability to hear the music of silence while others are still deaf to it. When you understand this, silence ceases to be a void and becomes a teacher. It trains your intuition. It sharpens your presence. It reveals what words hide. And the more you dwell in it, the more you begin to see the truth behind appearances. The emotions behind words, the intentions behind smiles, the energy behind events. Imagine sitting in front of someone and feeling, without them saying a word, the storm inside them. Imagine walking into a place and instantly knowing whether it carries peace or pain. This isn't magic, it's awareness. The same awareness the mystics cultivated through prayer, meditation, or solitude. It's the awakening of your spiritual perception. But here lies the paradox. The more you awaken, the more your silence will disturb others. Because when you embody peace, it reflects back the chaos they're hiding, and most people are not ready to face their own reflection. This is why the truly awakened are often misunderstood. Their silence is mistaken for arrogance, their calm for detachment, their independence for coldness, but they have simply learned a deeper truth, that explaining yourself to those who don't understand your silence is the same as throwing pearls into the wind. So when life seems to pause, when things grow quiet and uncertain, do not rush to fill that space. Listen to it. The stillness is speaking. It is the prelude to change. It is the divine language that only the attentive can hear. And if you've ever wondered why certain people make you feel at peace just by being near them, it's because they've learned this art. Their silence carries power. Their presence is prayer. They are no longer moved by words. They move through vibration. This is the first secret. Silence is the birthplace of revelation. When you learn to dwell in it, the unseen begins to reveal itself. You stop chasing signs and start attracting them. You become a magnet for meaning. If this message resonates with you, take a moment, not just to listen, but to join those who are awakening. Like this video, subscribe, and become part of this community of seekers who understand that the deepest truths are not shouted, they are felt. Because what you are about to discover next is not just another secret. It is the key to mastering the energy that shapes your entire reality. Years ago, I met a woman who carried silence like others carry scars. Her name was Elena. She was not famous, nor particularly strong by appearance, just an ordinary woman who seemed to live in a world that didn't know how to listen. But there was something about her that no one could ignore. When she entered a room, the noise seemed to dissolve. Conversations softened, arguments lost their force. It was as if her presence itself demanded stillness. I first met her in a small retreat center in the mountains of Italy. I had gone there to escape the chaos of my own mind, to run from the endless noise of proving, explaining, defending. At the time, I was convinced that silence was weakness, that those who didn't speak up were simply afraid. But Eleanor taught me otherwise, not with words, but with the absence of them. During meals, while everyone shared their thoughts about philosophy, spirituality, or the meaning of life, she remained quiet. Her eyes, though, seemed to read every word we didn't say. There was something unsettling in her calm. People would ask her questions, sometimes even provoke her just to see if she would react, but she never did. She would smile as if holding an ancient secret between her lips and then simply return to her meal. One evening, as the sun disappeared behind the mountains and the cold air began to creep into the room, I found her outside, sitting near a tree. The silence was heavy, yet comforting. After a long pause, I asked, "Why don't you ever respond? Don't you feel the need to speak?" She turned her gaze toward me, and her eyes reflected the dim light of the candles inside. "I used to speak a lot," she said softly, "until I realized that most of what I was saying was just a cry to be understood." Her words pierced me. I felt an ache in my chest, as if she had spoken a truth I had been hiding from myself for years. She continued, "One day, I was in the middle of an argument with someone I loved. I said terrible things just to be right. I could see the pain in his eyes, but I didn't stop. I wanted to win. And then, in the middle of my shouting, he just smiled. He didn't say a word. That silence hit me harder than any reply could have. It showed me the mirror I was avoiding. I saw what my words had become, noise. I saw that I was fighting not for truth, but for control. That day, silence broke me. And then it healed me." She looked back at the horizon. Since then, I realized that silence is not the absence of communication. It's the highest form of it. Her story stayed with me. I didn't understand it immediately. But later that night, when I sat alone in my room, I started noticing the noises inside my own head, the inner dialogue that never stopped. Every regret, every fear, every justification replayed like an endless storm. And for the first time, I didn't try to quiet it with words. I just listened, and something miraculous happened. The noise started to lose its power. In that space, I felt something sacred rising, an awareness I had never known before. Days passed, and I began to notice changes. The people who used to irritate me no longer had the same effect. The arguments that once consumed me started to seem pointless. I realized I didn't need to win anymore. I just needed to be present. And in that presence, something shifted. Life itself seemed to move differently around me. Opportunities opened, relationships healed, even my health improved. It was as if silence had become a bridge between me and the intelligence that governs everything. Months later, I received a letter from Elena. Inside, there was only one sentence written in her delicate handwriting. When you master silence, the universe starts to speak on your behalf. I keep that letter close to me, even now. Because every time I fall into the temptation of proving myself, explaining myself, or defending who I am, I remember her words. And I return to that quiet mountain night, where I finally understood that silence isn't weakness, it's sovereignty. And now, I ask you, have you ever experienced something similar? A dream, a coincidence, a strange moment of peace that spoke louder than any voice could? If so, I want to hear it. Share your story in the comments. Tell me what silence has revealed to you. What signs have crossed your path? What messages came when you least expected them? Because in this community, every story is a key. And the more we share, the more the invisible world begins to reveal its pattern. Somewhere in your silence lies the same secret that changed mine. But few are brave enough to listen to what it's trying to say. The second great secret of silence is not about hearing, it's about feeling. You see, silence does not live in the ears. It lives in the body. Every time the universe tries to speak to you, it doesn't use words or voices. It uses sensations. A sudden chill before you receive news, a pressure in your chest when someone hides something from you, a strange peace before a decision that will change your life. This is not coincidence. This is communication. It's the spiritual signal hidden beneath what most people call intuition. But intuition is not magic. It's memory. A memory of your connection with something greater, something that existed before your first breath. And once you learn to read it, it will never lie to you again. The ancients called this the language of resonance. They believed that every soul carries a unique vibration, an energetic signature that interacts with the world like a tuning fork. When you are aligned with truth, your body feels light, open, expanded. When you move away from it, it contracts, tightens, closes. This is the divine compass built inside every human being. But because we fill our lives with noise, we no longer feel its pull. We scroll, talk, argue, fill the sacred silence with distraction. And so, the signal fades until something forces us to listen again. That is why moments of heartbreak, loss, or solitude are often accompanied by silence. It is not punishment, it is a reset. The universe cuts the noise so you can feel the vibration of truth once more. Here is the technique the mystics used to reawaken this sensitivity. It's simple, but it requires honesty. Find a quiet space. Turn off everything: music, phone, voices. Sit or stand still. Feel the weight of your own breathing. Bring to mind a decision or a person that confuses you. Don't analyze, just feel. Pay attention to the first reaction of your body. Do you feel warmth, expansion, calmness? That is alignment. Do you feel tightness, pressure in your stomach or chest? That is resistance. Don't label the feeling as good or bad. Simply observe it. Because silence speaks in sensations, not opinions. The more you practice, the more fluent you become in this sacred language. When you live in alignment with resonance, life begins to flow differently. Doors open without effort. People who no longer serve your path drift away naturally. Synchronicities multiply. You no longer chase signs, they appear exactly when you need them. Because you have become the sign itself, and this, perhaps, is the greatest revelation of all. Silence was never about absence. It is the presence of divine intelligence guiding you through vibration. Every time you ignore this language, you step away from your path. Every time you honor it, you move closer to your destiny. But there's something even more mysterious. Sometimes this resonance goes beyond emotion. It becomes physical. Some call it goosebumps, others a shiver of truth. Have you ever felt that sudden surge of energy when you hear words that seem meant for you? That moment when the air itself feels charged with meaning? That is the body's confirmation. That is the echo of your soul recognizing itself. You don't need rituals or special gifts to experience this. You just need to listen without fear. Because the truth has always been speaking to you. It's your own vibration that forgot how to hear. Start small. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, take 1 minute before touching your phone. Close your eyes and ask, what is the energy of today? Then just breathe. Don't expect words. Feel the answer. It might come as calm, heaviness, excitement, or quiet. Trust it, because the body never lies. It remembers what your mind has forgotten. And when you begin to move through life this way, something miraculous happens. People will start reacting to your silence differently. They won't understand it, but they will feel it. They will sense your centeredness, your unspoken certainty, and slowly, without effort, the world begins to adjust around you. This is the second great secret. Silence is the bridge between feeling and knowing. It transforms intuition into guidance, and guidance into power. So, I invite you to practice this tonight. Choose one situation where you would normally overthink or argue. Instead of reacting, pause. Let silence rise. Feel what your body tells you before your mind decides, and you'll see. The truth is already waiting inside that stillness. If this message speaks to your soul, take a moment now, like this video, and subscribe to our community. Here, you're not just a listener. You are part of a circle of souls learning to awaken together. Because what we are about to uncover next goes far deeper. It's a sign hidden not in the body, but in the very fabric of your spirit. A signal so subtle, so sacred, that only those truly ready can perceive it. And once you do, you'll never see reality the same way again. There is a moment in every seeker's path when silence stops being external and begins to breathe inside you. It no longer surrounds you. It becomes you. That is the third and deepest sign, when silence transforms from absence into presence. This is not ordinary stillness. It is the kind that bends reality itself. It's the moment when you realize that every sound, every breath, every heartbeat is part of one great conversation between you and the divine. And in that realization, something ancient awakens. For centuries, mystics tried to describe it. They called it the breath of God, the eternal now, the still point where creation and creator meet. Science calls it coherence, when the vibration of your heart aligns perfectly with the vibration of the universe. But words will never capture it, because it isn't something you understand. It's something you become. When silence reaches this depth, it begins to reveal what no religion, no philosophy, no logic can teach, that you were never separate from the source you were searching for. The voice you've been trying to hear from above has always been echoing within you. Every sign, every coincidence, every moment of clarity was not sent to you. It was released through you. It's as if the universe finally exhales, and in that breath you realize you were never a spectator of divine intelligence. You were its expression all along. This is the mystery hidden in the words of Christ when he said, "The kingdom of God is within you." It wasn't a metaphor, it was the ultimate revelation, a truth so powerful that it frightened those who sought to control it. Because if every human carries a piece of the divine, then no one can ever be truly enslaved. When silence matures into presence, the world begins to mirror your inner state. Your calm tames chaos, your peace heals tension, your gaze becomes prayer, and people around you, without understanding why, begin to soften. They feel your energy before you speak, and they respond not to your words, but to your vibration. This is what the saints and sages meant when they said that enlightenment is not found in the mountains, but in the way you breathe while washing your hands, in the way you look at a stranger, in the way you forgive when no one is watching. Because every act done in divine awareness ripples through creation. You become a lighthouse in a storm, silent, unmoving, yet guiding countless souls home. And here lies the paradox. The more silent you become, the louder your spirit speaks. The quieter your mind grows, the stronger your impact becomes. Because your energy, now cleansed of noise and ego, vibrates in harmony with the intelligence that holds galaxies together. This is not poetry. Quantum physics now confirms that human emotion can alter matter at the subatomic level, that your heart's electromagnetic field expands meters beyond your body, influencing everything and everyone around you. So when you choose silence, true conscious silence, you are not retreating from the world, you are rewriting it. And yet, this path is not for the faint of heart, because before silence becomes light, it often becomes a mirror. It forces you to confront everything you've buried, the grief, the guilt, the fears you hide behind busyness. It shows you the noise you've been carrying, the voices you mistook for your own. Many turn back at this stage because the silence becomes unbearable. But those who endure discover something sacred, that beyond the noise there is a pulse, a rhythm older than time, a heartbeat that is not yours alone, but belongs to everything that exists. And when you finally surrender to it, the illusion of separation dissolves. You realize that to be silent is not to withdraw, it is to return home. Now take a breath, feel it enter your body, unforced, unclaimed. That breath is proof. You are being breathed by the same intelligence that moves the oceans and spins the stars. You have never been outside of its grace. If these words resonate with something deep inside you, then pause for a moment, not to scroll, not to rush away, but to honor this space of awakening. Leave a like, subscribe to this channel, and help this message continue to reach those who are ready to remember who they truly are. This community is not built for profit. It is built from passion, from purpose, from the quiet calling of countless souls seeking light in the noise. Every new subscriber is another spark joining the fire that refuses to go out. Because what comes next will go beyond silence. It will touch the mystery that silence has been pointing to all along. The final revelation, the one that cannot be spoken, only experienced. And once you see it, you will understand why the wisest among us never tried to explain it. They simply smiled and let the silence do the talking. There comes a point in every awakening where everything begins to make sense. Not in words, not in logic, but in a quiet recognition that everything that has ever happened to you, every silence, every loss, every unanswered prayer, was never a punishment. It was preparation. The signs you've encountered along your journey were not random coincidences. They were love letters from the universe, carefully written in the language of silence. Every moment of stillness you misunderstood, as emptiness was, in truth, the space where something sacred was being built inside you. For years, you may have thought that you were searching for answers, but now perhaps you see you were never searching for truth. You were remembering it. The signs were never outside you. They were reflections of the divine intelligence that has been whispering your name since the beginning of time. Every dream, every intuition, every sudden moment of peace that seemed to appear out of nowhere. These were glimpses of your true nature calling you back home. Silence, once feared, now becomes your greatest companion. Because in silence, you stop trying to control life and begin to receive it. You stop chasing meaning and start embodying it. The universe stops being an external force and starts revealing itself as what it has always been, your mirror. This awakening is not about escaping the world. It's about walking through it differently, lighter, deeper, aware that everything around you is alive and communicating with you. The wind, the faces you meet, even the pauses between words, all of it is sacred. And when you begin to treat life this way, it responds. Reality starts to rearrange itself around your consciousness. Maybe that's why you're here. Not by accident, but by alignment. Something brought you to this message because it was time for you to remember that power doesn't come from noise. It comes from presence. That wisdom isn't what you learn. It's what you remember when the noise finally fades. So take a deep breath now. Feel it travel through your body, anchoring you in this moment. This is what awareness feels like. It's not distant, unreachable, or mystical. It's the simplest thing in the world. It's you, awake in your own silence, and from this moment on, may you carry this truth like a flame. You were never meant to shout to be heard. Your silence already speaks for you. Your calmness changes rooms. Your presence heals. You are not small. You are not unseen. You are the quiet echo of something eternal. And every time you choose peace over reaction, every time you pause before speaking, every time you breathe before judging, you are creating harmony in a world that has forgotten how to listen. Let this be your mission now, to live as a reminder, to embody the kind of silence that awakens, not the kind that hides, to move through life as living proof that divinity does not thunder, it whispers. Because when one person awakens, 1,000 others feel it. And that is how the world changes, not through words, but through vibration, through one heart that remembers, and another that feels it, and another that follows. If this message has touched something within you, then join this circle of awareness. Like this video and subscribe to our channel, not because we seek numbers, but because every subscription, every like, strengthens a community built not on noise, but on presence. This channel doesn't exist for profit. It exists for passion, for the love of sharing what cannot be owned. Together, we are keeping alive a light that the world still desperately needs. And before you go, leave a comment below. Write your name and your city. Let us know where your silence has found you tonight. Because in our next video, I'll be sending a special greeting to those who dare to step forward, to say, I am here, I am awake, and I am listening. Perhaps that is the most powerful declaration of all, to be here fully in this moment, because that is where truth lives. And as you close this video, remember, the world will try to pull you back into noise, but now you know the secret. You know where real power hides. It's not in the voice that shouts the loudest, but in the soul that no longer needs to. And in that silence, eternity begins to speak.